Good morning, guys. I'm WUSA, Season 3, Episode 25. This morning I'm leaving slightly later than normal because I have to drop off some paperwork at a place that doesn't open until a certain time. So that's why I'm leaving just a little bit later than usual. Not much, but there was no one available to drop it off, and today was the deadline. So right now it is 34 degrees. Looks like we had a little bit of snow last night. Not much, but just a dusting. The ground is wet, and there's a little bit of fog, not too much. Probably have a 1 mile visibility. Yeah, overall, I think it's going to be a good day today. We're going to have a lot of opportunity today. I have no idea where we are for the week, but I suspect that we're, well, I can probably guess. Yesterday was 2, maybe 3. I would guess we're only 1,500 away from our goal for the week, but who cares about that? Let's blow by it and make some money, close out the month in a good way. Beginning of the month was good, middle of the month was pretty much break even, and we're going to have a good finish here to the month. So that's what's going on right now. I'm going to be visiting 5 casinos today, and I'll be back to update you shortly. Alright guys, I'm back re-recording this part here because I got a phone call as soon as I started, and I'll tell you about that in a moment here. But visibility right now is greatly reduced. It's down to about 1/10 of a mile. So it's been, a tough drive here. Just got to pay attention. There's been a lot of police also, so I don't know why they'd be out. If visibility is reduced, I don't think people are going to be flying, but who knows. Anyway, I went into the first casino, and I found a play right away. Played that, made about, what, did I play 2 plays or 1 play? I think I just played that 1 play. I must have made $35 on that one. Walked around, really didn't see anything else. Saw a must-hit buy. That is what I tell people: if you need the points, then play it. But I wouldn't. But I wanted someone to talk me out of it because I was itching for a big play. It's a $5,000 must-hit buy. So I put a message out to some friends, and I was told exactly what I would tell people: if you need the points, play it. If you don't worry about it. And honestly, I know it's January, but I've got all year to get a couple thousand points to be the second highest tier in this casino, to continue to be that tier, and I don't see myself getting to the top tier. So because it's so much of a difference in points, so I really don't need the points. So I ended up only being there for about 20 minutes. I ended up leaving ahead $35. I am going to come back this direction on purpose to look at that must-hit buy again. If it moves up another $10 or $12, I'll probably take it. I doubt that it'll still be available. Someone will probably be playing it when I come back. The other issue is timing-wise. As my friend said, if you play it at the minimum level to get the least variance, you're probably looking at 13 hours. I probably will not play it at that level. I'll probably play it at the most expensive level, which will give me a lot of swings. So, and the most expensive level is about 10 times the cost of the minimum amount. So hopefully I'd be able to get it done in an hour and a half or so. So we'll see what happens with that. I have a feeling it's not going to be there when I come back, but I'll take a swing back this direction just to take a look at that. Right now we're moving on. We're going to be playing back to back to back, maybe to back, so 3 or 4 sessions of Blackjack, back to back Blackjack. Anyway, we're going to be doing that, and hopefully have some good variance today. I'd love to have today be the biggest day of the week, and we'll find out what happens. So right now temperature is still around 32 degrees, still very foggy, and moving on to the next spot. Oh, I forgot to tell you what that phone call was. That phone call was the guy talking about my car, and he noticed, he feels bad that it took so long. The car is complete. He noticed a broken spring on there, so he ordered one, and he's going to put it on there just to say he's sorry. So that's nice of him, although I'd rather have the car with the broken spring, but I guess it's best to just have everything completely fixed. So he's thinking Friday or Monday at the latest, I'll have my car back. So that's what's going on with that. I'll be back. All right, guys, I am back. It is clearing up a little bit. The weather's a little bit better. Temperature's up to 37. Visibility's a lot better. It's still very gloomy and cloudy, but it seems like it's pretty safe to drive right now. I went to the next casino and I played slots and blackjack there. First slot machine I went to that was in position, played that through and won about $40. And then I had a must hit by. It was a low-level must-hit buy. There were two $40 and a $100 must-hit buy, and I hit all three of them and ended down $16 for slots, which means I lost $56 on those. So, unfortunately, and now the first 100 I ran through there, and I keep track of it every 100 spins, which this happened to be a dollar machine, but the first 100 spins were paying at about 80%, and then it slowly declined and just got worse and worse and worse. And I need to be in the mid 70s at least to break even on that play. So minus 16 on those. Then I went and played some blackjack, $50 table, spreading from 50 to 250. Played back there for a while. Unfortunately, I was there during the shift change, so that burns me for that other shift, because they both saw me. The pit boss comes up to me and asks me if I have a card, and the dealer says, no, he's all right, don't worry. And she's like, don't worry, I know. And what she knows is a story that I tell dealers, the reason why I don't give a player's card, and it's a very unique story. I can't tell you the story because it would out me pretty easily, pretty quickly, but I have a very, very unique story that once I tell people, they never ask me for a card again. They kind of like, they feel like they're sharing a secret with me, and they become very friendly with me. So let's just say that. So playing 50 to 250, lost my first 500 very quickly, second 500 very quickly, got into the third 500. Things leveled out, and then had a couple shoes that were pretty flat. Didn't make or lose much money at all, and then had a good shoe at the end there, and I ended my session ending my shoe plus 800. So plus 800 for that blackjack session, minus 16 for slots, and we're going to move on to another casino. So yeah, just how's the day going? I guess I'm feeling pretty good. Was a little anxious there for a minute. I went through a bunch of double downs that were decent hands, and the dealer got 4 and 5 cards to push every time, and that was a little nerve-wracking. I got ace-6 about 20 times, and I had soft hands that I was supposed to hit or double, and those were pretty neutral. Won about half, lost about half, but really kind of a weird session there. And that dealer was like, "Don't worry, I'll take care of this for you," because of what I had told her. So right now, like I said, moving on to the next spot, and then once I get there, there'll be another spot close by, so we'll hit both of those, and then check out the time and figure out what to do from there. So I'll be back. Alright guys, I am back. I was in that place not too long, actually. I walked in, looked at some slots. I saw that they converted some of the beatable slots with very, very, very similar unbeatable slots, and it's terrible. So those are a few less slots that I could play. They're doing other moving around in there as well. I looked at the slots before going to play blackjack and didn't see any plays, so I went to play some blackjack. I sat down and actually had some pretty good immediate success. Got a little bit of attention because I won some crazy hands, and the count ended up going negative, and I just decided to get up because why push it? So I won a quick $750 there. I go back and look at the slots again and find one play. I play that through at 50 cents a spin, and I end up leaving ahead $49.92 on that. So so call it $50. So I ended ahead $750 on the blackjack and $50 on the slots, and I'm moving on to another place. And with this one being a short trip here, hopefully I can get a little extra time in at the next place. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd love to hit 2,000 real quick and get out of there, but I do have a little bit of extra time to spend. So I guess it is possible for me to add one more casino that was not scheduled, but that's going to add about 2 hours to my total trip. So I'll examine that after I get out of the next casino, and then I'll figure out which direction I'm going to go. So yeah, pretty good. Letting you go for now. I'll be back to update you after the next stop. Alright guys, I'm back. It was hilarious to walk in there and have the pit bosses come up to me and call me uncle. It's so funny. You just know everybody, you know everyone by first name. No one suspects a thing. They all think that I'm some chump that doesn't make any money, loses tons of money, and they all drink the Kool-Aid that I'm serving. So that was cool. I went in there, just played blackjack only, couldn't find any slots to play. Played there for a minute and ended up doing okay in the end. Nothing really special about the session, and I ended the session ahead 500, so plus $500 there. I'm still doing well on time. I'm gonna go grab me some nice food to eat, relax a little bit, and figure out what I'm gonna do from here. So the place that I'm going to get food from is a grocery store that also serves food in their deli. They actually non-American food, but they actually make this food and they serve it either by the pound or with a lunch special. And this lunch special is like $8.99, and it's probably worth $20 if you do it by weight. So it's definitely worth it. There is something I wanted to try that I saw that they had there that I haven't had for a long time, and we'll see how tasty it is. Let's see, where am I going here? Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So I noticed something else while I was there. So there are multiple casinos in the area here. Obviously, I already mentioned that. And you need to know when the dealers get there, but also when the cashiers get there and leave. So in the previous casino, the cashiers were there 12 to 8, and the cage was there 8 to 4. So they're 4 hours apart, right? So here, I just noticed what time the cashiers change shifts. So that's very important to me. Now, next time I'll pay attention to the cashier managers and if they change shift at the same time. So when it comes down to selling chips or cashing in chips, it's good to know when people leave, because if they leave at 4 o'clock and it's 3 o'clock and I leave to go home and I could have cashed 3,000 more in before I left, you know, that's a big deal. So what else? Something else I wanted to mention, I can't recall right now because I'm trying to pay attention to this road. I don't normally go this direction. I don't know. Anyway, ended up ahead 500 on the blackjack, and I'm moving on to get some food and then another casino. Alright guys, I am back. I had a nice lunch, good food. I got some vegetables and stuff that are hard to find in my area. I got some fruit to eat in the car. Just feeling great. Moving on right now to the next casino. at this casino is where I saw the $5,000 must hit by this morning. We're going to take a look and see if it's any closer. If it is, we're going to play it. It was maybe $15 away from being a play. If it's $10 closer than it was, I'm going to play it, and we'll see what happens. After I get done with that, I'll have to get gas again, because as always, I have to get gas once or twice a day. So I'm going to have to do that, and then just depending on if there's anyone on it or not, I may see if I can get it reserved so I can go around, look at the other machines, and then come back and play it, or at least have a friend of mine sitting there. So that's what's going on right now. Weather is good, 39 degrees. I got my shorts on, and I'm happy, and no coat needed anymore. We're out of the woods as far as the temperature, and we're going to go in and make some money. So letting you go for now. Going to continue on to the next casino, and then I'll be back to update you. Alright guys, I am back. I went into that casino and immediately went over to the must hit by jackpot. I looked at it, and it had moved, but not enough. So I don't know. Maybe I'll come back tomorrow, but I have a feeling someone's going to take it. It's just not in the right position. I really don't feel like losing $500 or $1,000 on it for no reason. I don't need the points. It just doesn't make sense. So I'll let that go. I start to look at machines, and the first thing I see is this guy who is a ploppy but knows just a little bit about what we do, and he's on this machine. It's $6 per spin, and he has $100 to his name. And I said, look, it looks like it's in a good spot. If you want me to play it, I'll play it, and let's figure out a percentage. And he said, no, I'll just play it. I said, okay, but if you play it and you run out of money, then I'm going to take it. And he said, okay. So he played it, and he hit it. He had $21 left when he hit it. So he had 3 spins left. Can you imagine how nervous he was? And it hit for $400. So, didn't get that one. Looked at some other ones. Didn't really see anything. Trying to think if I even played a single machine. I did play one machine. I know I left ahead, but most of it was just scraps I found. So I ended up ahead $2. So plus $2. And it was busy in there. And as it turns out, for seniors 50 and older, if they get a certain number of points, they'll get a free meal, basically, for up to a certain amount of money. So that's why it's packed in there, and that's why sometimes when I come here on Wednesdays, I find that it's very busy for no reason, and it's because on that day, if seniors get that many points. So it's basically equivalent to almost $80 in coin in for them to basically get a free burger or chicken strips or something like that. So I mean, I think the casino breaks even on that if they just do the minimum and walk away, but they definitely make money because no one's going to do the minimum and walk away. So it's a good idea for the casinos. It's a bad idea for seniors, unfortunately, unless you've got some disposable income. But I've seen things like this all over the country, where they say get 10 points, 20 points, whatever it might be, 100 points, depending on if it's $1 per point, and you get a free meal. And it brings a lot of people in. I'll tell you the thing that I see that brings in the most people is when they give away that garbage, free kitchen this, kitchen that, free plate, free cooker, whatever it might be. Those things are about $10 to $12. I've actually seen some of them for $8 online if you buy them in bulk, and they bring in so many people. Some of these casinos can barely hold all the people, and there's people standing in line hours before because they would rather have the free whatever it is rather than sometimes they'll give away like $10 if you don't get the free item because they ran out. And there'll be people just camped out there, and the casinos will have like a little marker out, do not cross this line, or keep this aisle open for fire, whatever rules. And there'll be just thousands of people in there coming in. So ingenious ways to make money. Not that they need more money, but thankfully, as other people are putting it in, people like us are pulling it back out. They're making a deposit, we're making a withdrawal. So right now I need some gas, so I put everything into the upside, and I found a gas station that with the discount is $2.60. So I'm here right now. I just pulled in. I'm gonna get some gas. I'm gonna head on home. I'll be back to update you shortly. All right, guys, I'm back. So when I was in there, I saw a guy who I don't see very often anymore, but I used to see him a lot hanging around. And he is kind of like this guy that knows just enough, and he has some money, but he'll go chasing the craziest things at the wrong time. And he'll even ask me, hey, what do you think about this? And I'll say, no, it's not time, you gotta wait. And then he'll go ahead and play it anyway. And I remember he did that with the must hit by one time, and he played it for, I forget how much. I did an episode, I talked about it on one of my episodes. He was there like 12 or 16 hours playing that thing, and he ended up down. So, and I told him, and he would spin slow and wait for it to stop and spin again. And I'm like, if you want to crank this thing out, if you want to make money, you got to push this thing fast. Hopefully it's a machine, with good buttons that don't stick, and you can just crank it out. But anyway, I saw him there, and he was standing next to a lady playing a non-AP machine. And I just walked up to him and said hi, and he introduced me to his wife. And she turns around and says, okay, I put 20 in this, now it's your turn to put 20 in. So he's kind of funding her play as well. So you can probably figure out that he does a lot of degenerate plays as well. That's just, most people know very little, and they just resign themselves to, hey, I want to make some money, and I want to have fun, and not necessarily make money. And, they just play whatever makes them happy. So I know yesterday I was at a spot where I told you that I was kind of in a hurry, but this guy wanted to talk. Well, that guy specifically was telling me that
there's a speed trap ahead.
Sorry about that. There's a speed trap ahead. 2 of them, it looks like. Wow, there goes another one. So he was telling me that all of last year he degened only 3 times, but so far this year he's already degened 3 times, or the other way around. He only did 3 times last year. He's already done 4 times this year. And I'm like, yeah, it happens to everybody. Sometimes you stay on a play too long or whatever. But he was talking about like thousands and thousands of dollars that he just wanted to do something. He was bored, and he just went all out and hammered it and lost a bunch of money, which stinks because he's a very knowledgeable guy. But, and that's one thing I would worry about too. If, I've never really been on a team. I've done some short-term, one-day things. But one thing I would worry about is, what is this person's history? And even like my history, I used to play at casinos, never really played that much at slots, but I usually played table games, and I understood the math of it and did my best to try to give myself the best odds. But when you have team money, you have a big pile of cash, don't you worry about trusting somebody who used to be a gambler with all that money and having them say that they lost it? That's a big thing for me. And maybe if it was someone that I knew personally and I trusted them, that would be different. I can think of a couple people I would do that with. But overall, and my thing too with a team, I'd love to be on a team if somebody trusted me and I trusted them, but I would feel so awful if it was somebody else's money Sorry about that. That was my doorbell. If it was someone else's money that I'm losing, I take it personally when I lose my money. When I lose someone else's money, I'd be like worried about what they think, and are they going to think I stole it, or so I haven't wanted to deal with that before. I can tell you a story. About 10 years ago, a friend of mine wanted to go to Vegas, so at that time he would always stay at the Mirage. So I guess I think I stayed at the Wynn and he stayed at the Mirage, and we met up, and I don't know, maybe I slept in the same room. Anyway, so there's this guy, he's a roofer in Beverly Hills, and he's a friend of my friend. And this guy would play big time with the Blackjack. And he's like, do you know how to count cards? And I'm like, no, I don't, but, I can learn. And mind you, this is like 6 or 7 years before probably 6 years before I actually started counting. And he gave me a little tutorial, and he'd ask me what the number was, and he'd ask me in front of the dealer. And I didn't know that we could get kicked out for it or whatever, but I understood how to do the count, and I did the count, and it was a double deck table, and they played slow, so it was easy for me to keep track of it. And I would tell him the number in front of the dealer. It's a 5, it's a 7. I didn't know how to do to convert it to a all I knew how to do was to do a running count, not a true count. But I would tell him the number, and sometimes it would be negative, and he'd still want to keep on betting high. So I'm like, why am I even doing this? So anyway, he lost about 30,000 on this table, and he said, he called me by my nickname, which is one you guys haven't even heard yet, so it's another name. But he said, hey, can you go up to the room and get me 10,000? And I said, hell no. I said, I'll wait for you right here. You can go up to the room and get it. I said, I don't want to know your safe combination. I don't want to know anything. The last thing I need is for someone to think that I stole their money, or you've got 9,900 in there, and you miscounted or something and think that I stole 100, Anyway, as I was doing this counting for him, and he'd be winning some big hands sometimes, 600, 1,000, 1,200, he would tip the dealer 25 or 50 or even $100. But did he tip me all hundreds of dollars? He probably tipped the dealer a couple $1,000. He ended up giving me $100 for counting for him. And honestly, that was, I'm 100% sure that day is the last time I ever saw or talked to that guy, because I was so upset that I was doing all that for hours for him, and I figured, he's going to pay me a certain amount. But anyway, so stuff from the old days I didn't even think about. There's so many things that we used to do. We used to play poker before anyone played poker, before Chris Moneymaker, before any of that stuff. In my town, there was this lady, and she had an underground poker place, but it was huge. It was like underground in plain sight, and she'd have signs that say, come play poker here. And what she did is she paid the local police to be her security. And when she said that she donated the money to charity, so all these charities thought she was so great. But she would do is, what she would do, if you buy in for 100, she'd write down 10 on the sheet. Like, this guy bought in for 10, 5, 10, 15, whatever. And then she'd add it all up. Let's say the total is 100, just a generic number. She'd say the profit after paying the dealers and everything, because they're not volunteers, is 5. And here's the 5. And she'd be this hero. But the 5 represents 0.5% of the money, right? Because she's already taking 10% of the money, and then she's taking 5% of the 10%, so she's actually donating 0.5% of the money she would bring in. And I remember her talking to somebody and overhearing that she makes $25,000 to $30,000 at that time a week. We're talking about in the 90s, $25,000 to $30,000 a week. And people would be, I think maybe I talked about this once before slightly, but people would be pawning stuff to her, bringing in their watches and all this stuff, stealing stuff and bringing it to her. And people would be losing their jobs, stealing from their jobs to play in this game. And this game would run from Thursday night to Monday night. And that whole time, she was raking 10%. 10%. Can you imagine? And any rebuys at the table that people would do, she wouldn't write down on that form. So she was making a fortune and donating very little money. But when you're a charity and someone's bringing you whatever, $500 or whatever it is, you're going to take it and you're going to be happy and thank them for it, because you wouldn't have had it otherwise. And there were so many crooks there. I remember people would come around and say, all right, I'm going to McDonald's. What do you want? What do you want? They'd take orders from everybody and take cash from everybody. And sometimes they'd never come back. They'd take everybody's money and leave. They'd come back a month later and make up some excuse, something that happened, I'm sorry, and all this stuff. And so much of that stuff happened. You had cigarettes and that. And people would be selling and passing around pills at the table. So it'd be, I forget the names of them all. They would do it by the number, 246. You have any 311s, 314s, whatever it might be. Yeah, $6. And you just give her $6 in chips, and she would give that person a pill. I don't even know all these pills were, but I remember her husband was a former sheriff in the area, and she knew she would never get in trouble. So she'd be selling all these pills, and he was doing other stuff too, on the side, making money. And it's just a corrupt world, Everybody's trying to take advantage of you. And the least you could do is try to take care of yourself and your family and squeeze out any little profit that you can from these evil casinos and do the right thing with it. Everyone else is doing all the wrong things and getting people hooked on drugs or stealing or whatever it might be. And we got to do the right things. So that's my little rant. 39 degrees outside, beautiful day, nice dry roads, nice bright outside. Even though it's cloudy, it's a nice bright day. I found another player's card in this casino, took that with me. I've got about 15 extra player's cards right now in case I ever need them, or my friends need them. So anyway, I still got a few more hours to go here to get home. If you have any questions or comments, it's mwusa21@gmail.com, mwusa21@gmail.com. See you next time.